you, and it's really very good to come back again and again to Yuvale to meet the youth. And this one thing which I've been saying in all my classes is that the beauty of working with the youth is ki at 51 also you don't turn old, because there are all young people around you. So starting with, before I start the presentation and talk about what I have written, I want a little participation from you all to start with. So initiative is something that is always there. So the first thing which I want all of you to write down, two things that you feel that you wanted to achieve since last 2 years. So there is in your back of your mind that you want to do it. And what is there in your mind that you want to do it since last 2 years? Please write down. If you want to write down in the chat box, okay. If you don't want to write down in the chat box, it is something that you don't want to share. It's good that you write with your own self.
Can we start sharing, madam?
Just a minute, sir.
Sure,
Just a minute. Yes. So let me check how many of you could do it. Okay, please raise your hands who have been able to put it. So I can see one hand. Ila madam's hand is here. So is it really difficult to think it over? Okay, two participants raise the hand. Yes. You can see three. Okay, so this particular activity was to give you the sense of taking initiative, because there is no one that can force you to do anything because we are on online mode. So I just wanted to check, do you really took the initiative of doing so? So thank you so much. And we'll talk about what you have written in a little descriptive form, a little as we move on. So I wanted to talk about, when we talk about initiative and self-direction. So you may put your hands, you can lower your hands, please. So initiative is basically the opportunity to take charge and action before someone else takes. Now, as we move on in life and as we grow professionally in our lives, I have realized that if you do not take initiative, someone else will take. And when someone else will take the initiative, you will, or as an individual, I will lag behind. Number one. Number two is that if I take the initiative of doing something, I'm definitely going to move a little further, and I will walk a little further than what others are walking. And all the stories of J.R.D. Tata, Mark Zuckerberg, you read any story and we all know how how most of the people whom we know as famous people have moved ahead in life. So even if we don't want to go that way, even if we go back to our own lives and think, I would request Mr. Vijay to mute, please. I think there's some sound there. So that is where, when we are talking about that, if we take initiative, if we take charge of ourselves, then only we are able to take those initiatives. I'm sure आप लोग सब लोगों ने बचपन से लेकर के अब तक हमेशा गोल सेटिंग का बात किया कि we should set goals, we should achieve them. But interesting thing is, to set goals, the precursor is initiative. Do I take that initiative to achieve something? Do I take that initiative to write down and identify those goals? So to start with, I will just quickly talk about one episode of my own life. So I was just sharing before you all joined that I come from a very conservative family. So I'm Sindhi by caste. So generally Sindhis में ऐसा मानते हैं कि लड़कियों को पढ़ाना नहीं चाहिए और लड़कियों को पढ़ा के कोई फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि रोटी का साइज बदलता नहीं है अगर हम पढ़ते हैं. So as a student, I was an average student, and every time my dad will tell me कि ठीक है, पास हो जाओ, बहुत है, उससे ज्यादा करने की जरूरत नहीं, क्योंकि उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं होगा तुम्हारा. So life went on. I finished my 10th, and post that I took humanities. Nobody stopped me to, why are you taking humanities? Because 12th तक पढ़ाना है लड़कियों को, उतना important था मेरे पापा के. But one good thing that he did was that he put us in a convent school. So उसकी वजह से हमको थोड़ा अंग्रेजी आ गया. So later on, when I was taking admission in graduation, my father warned me कि you may take admission in graduation, but the day I will get a boy for you, you will have to get married. So I was like, doesn't matter. I was ready to take that risk. I took that risk of doing so, and I took that initiative of taking admission in the college. And so after I finished my graduation, my father couldn't find a boy for me, thankfully. So then I scored really well in my graduation. So getting admission in masters in psychology was a tough job. But because I had scored well, I could get first name in the admission list. Because of that, I cleared interview and everything. And then I went to my dad कि मुझे फीस भरना है. किस बात का फीस भरना है? मास्टर्स का. No. Masters is no way. Masters कैसे करोगे तो? कोई जरूरत नहीं है. And the argument continued for a month, and we had some 1 month का time फीस भरने के लिए, and my father was not allowing me. And बहुत रोया धोया, बहुत तमाशा हुआ. He was not ready to pay the fees. 1,000 रुपए थे. He did not. And then finally, I emotionally blackmailed my mother and took 1,000 from her and paid the fees, ताकि last deadline नहीं हो. And then I went to the college, and when my dad saw कि and because he was a businessman, उनको ज़्यादा पता नहीं चलता था हम क्या करते हैं क्या नहीं करते हैं. So when he said कहाँ जा रहे हो? तो कॉलेज जा रही हूँ. उनको मना किया था, and बहुत डांटा उन्होंने, बहुत चिल्लाया. But I just told him कि पापा again मेरी कंडीशन सेम है, आपको जिस दिन लड़का मिल जाएगा उसे मैं पढ़ाई छोड़ दूंगी. नहीं फिर तुम बोलोगे हमको कम पढ़े लिखे लड़के से शादी नहीं करें. It doesn't matter, you go ahead. मैं कभी नहीं बोलूंगी, कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी, आपको जिससे शादी करानी हो करा देना. I will not utter a single word. I'm just, so I don't want to go beyond this, but that is how I finished my masters. So, and then the life went on like this, taking initiative, fighting in an orthodox family, getting into that conservative mindset. Fighting that mindset was all the initiative that I took because I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something more than what I could see my mother doing, my sisters doing, my relatives doing. So the reason I told you this story was nothing to flaunt about, but just to give you a small indication that being a woman, I had to take that initiative, that I have to go beyond what life is offering me to. And that is what is all about, doing things, taking you beyond your initiatives, taking beyond what you are expecting. An interesting चीज जो मैं आजकल बहुत यूथ में देख रही हूँ, आप लोग सब भी मानते होंगे कि whenever you ask anything कि जिंदगी में क्या करना है, बहुत पैसा कमाना है. Good. पैसा is the motivation. But उस पैसा कमाने के लिए पीछे जितना मेहनत चाहिए, पीछे जितना इनिशिएटिव चाहिए, क्या हम वो ले रहे हैं? Is the question that I have to pose it to myself. So similarly, when I'm talking about when I'm dealing with the people, or when I'm taking training program at the workplaces, everybody wants performance appraisal के बाद सबका मूड खराब होता है क्योंकि उतने इंक्रीमेंट्स नहीं मिले होते, उतने पोजीशंस नहीं मिले होते. बट उस इंक्रीमेंट और पोजीशन के लिए मैंने कितने इनिशिएटिव लिए, मैंने कितना आउट ऑफ द वे जाके काम किया, इज द क्वेश्चन दैट आई जनरली ask, or which I generally tell them to do it. There's nothing, you cannot do anything crying over the spilt milk. It is all about how well, how I'm going out of my way to do things, is what I have to talk about today. So once I have the initiative, then another thing that becomes very significant is the self-direction. Initiative cannot come with self-direction. So I'm sure everybody has read this book, Alice in Wonderland. So उसमें एक स्टेटमेंट है जहाँ एलिस एक रैट को पूछती है, where does this road takes? So the rat asked, आपको कहाँ जाना है? She says, I do not know where I have to go. So the rat says, doesn't matter, where does this road takes? Go ahead. So then you have to keep on thinking about what life gives you. What life gives you, take that and move on. But if I want something different, when I want something more, when I want something extraordinary, what exactly am I doing to do that? What extra initiative have I taken? So this is where the self-direction comes. I was recently watching one of the YouTube videos where one of the leader of the famous company was talking about that when people come to me for mentoring, for helping them to move on, as a leader, I can only mentor them if they have the sense of self-direction. I cannot mentor them if they are not doing so. So self-direction is the ability to set goals related to the learning, plan for what you want to achieve, independently manage time, and have quality of learning experience. So self-direction jab tak nahi hoga, mujhe kya chahiye, how I want to go, is what makes me most motivated. That is what is going to take me where I want to go. Because there's this another thing that is coming up in a big way कि इतना सारा achievement को लेकर के इतना सारा hue and cry क्यों मचाया हुआ है कि ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए. There's nothing wrong in aspiring. There is nothing wrong in expecting. But most difficult thing is that whatever I aspire, whatever I expect, what initiative have I taken to achieve that? So now I come back to my first question where I asked you to write down 2 things that you wanted to achieve. If you people can raise the hand. So out of the 2 things, what at least one thing you have been able to achieve in last 2 years? Whatever you aspired for. At least one thing you've been able to achieve.
So I aspired, so I had these 2 things in my mind. Firstly, to learn playing flute, and second, to have to do a course on expressive therapies. So I because of my circumstances, I was not able to get time to learn flute, but I enrolled myself in a distant learning course, which was on expressive therapy. So I did that.
Okay. So now in that case, what can you tell me at least one thing that you had to do to learn flute before you actually enrolled for learning flute?
No, so I didn't learn flute, but I enrolled myself in the course with
so what steps did you take? First of all, you identified that because of your circumstances, you cannot find time to get into a full-time program, right? You identified that?
Yes.
And what was the second step?
I looked for the courses which are distant and good.
So that is where you took the initiative of identifying what are the courses available with my set of limitations. And second thing that you did was, with your set of limitation, you directed yourself that okay, ठीक है, मुझे करना है, अब मुझे जो मिलेगा मैं उसको आइडेंटिफाई करके आगे चलूंगी. So that is where the sense of initiative and self-direction helps us to achieve what we want to achieve. So okay, so Dhyani has written that she wanted to get the job after completion of college. Were you able to get so?
Actually, currently my college is going on, so after that I'm aiming.
Okay, okay, fine. So what extra thing you have done so that the job people can take you? Shivam, sorry.
Yeah, I have started learning those topics that are asked in interviews, because I'm aiming for a software engineering job. So I've started learning the coding aspect of it.
Okay, great. So you have started already taking the initiative to crack the interviews, and whatever is asked in the interview, let me learn that skill, right? So those initiatives are going to pay you so well. Number of times we have to think very long term. It is not something that we think short term कि मुझे कल करना है तो मैं आज सोचूं, ठीक है, एक्सटेम्पोर हम कुछ भी सीख सकते हैं, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, but for long term it is very important that we take the initiative with much more planning. So moving ahead with so intentions, one important thing is intentions cannot be taught, it comes from within. So we have this as a student, we all have read this proverb, you can take the horse to the water but you cannot make it drink. हम आपको सिखा सकते हैं, आपके माता पिता आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी दे सकते हैं, आपके कलीग्स आपकी अपॉर्चुनिटीज दे सकते हैं, आपको समझा सकते हैं, बता सकते हैं, but the intent to do comes from within. So if I do not have the intention, even the best of the opportunities will not do so. I know one of the person who with the with the best of the opportunities have not been able to handle the father's business effectively, and from a profit making institution it has turned into a loss making institution, and now they are bankrupt. So when I'm talking about this, the intention of doing certain things is what is significantly important. So intentions cannot be taught, it has to, so we can just tell you that see, intend for it, but it doesn't mean that you will do it. So the individual has to think. So we have to design our actions and thoughts in such a way that we know what will be the outcome. So if I have intended, and because most of the time what happens is we generally have problem focused approach. ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. But do we really think from a solution focused approach? Like for example, if I have difficulty of not being able to read something, or I have, for example, I do not know how to write Gujarati number of times or read very fluently. Number of times I have that difficulty, I know that. But being in the state of Gujarat, I have to survive with that. So what are the solutions I have identified for myself is what is most important. Instead of cribbing over Gujarati is not my basic language, I do not know, so I will not do anything. So I may lose a lot of opportunities because of that. So we have to design our thoughts and actions so that we know what will be our outcome. So मुझे जो चाहिए उसके हिसाब से मुझे actions को design करना है. Now coming to, I'm sure everybody is aware of that. Are we willing to do the hard work and uncomfortable work of trying things out and figuring things to ourselves? Because अगर मुझे कुछ ज्यादा चाहिए, see, अगर जिंदगी में सब चल रहा है ठीक ठाक, even simple thing, I'm sure simplest activity of eating, So number of people may be privileged enough to get a ready plate of food right in front of you. Is there anyone जिसको खाना तैयार मिलता है? मुझे नहीं मिलता, मुझे पकाना पड़ता है. सिर्फ दिशा को मिलता है, बाकी लोग खुद बना के खाते हैं.
सभी को मिल रहा है मैडम.
So सभी को खाना हाथ में तैयार मिलता है, प्लेट हाथ में तैयार मिलती है. उसके बाद क्या करना होता है? What do we generally do?
खाते हैं.
खाते हैं. Beautiful. So खाते हैं तो खुद तोड़ के लेना पड़ता है. Yes. खुद तोड़ के लेने के बाद, चलो कोई मैंने तोड़ के दे भी दिया, उसके बाद
चबाना
तो खुद ही पड़ता है. Beautiful. So that is where I want all of us to understand that even if I get everything ready, I have to still chew. So that is what is all about. I need to come out of my comfort zone. I have to do those hard things to figure out what I exactly want. So if अगर मुझे कुछ चाहिए तो मुझे कुछ out of the way जाना है. 12th के बच्चों से जब मैं बात करती हूँ, तो बच्चे लोग बोलेंगे कि हमको ये करना है, ये करना है. I want to go to college. I want to take admission in this college. I tell them, have you identified what other colleges available? Have you identified? Have you talked to the people from different universities? Now everything is in the tip of your fingers. Google में डालना है, बहुत सारे email IDs मिलेंगे. And I tell you, academicians are the most humble person. If you write them a mail, they will revert back on the mail. So just an example that, am I taking that initiative to talk to people, to talk to the people who are already in the field, initiative to identify what I want to do. So that is where the individual has to do the hard work and come out of that comfortable zone that we are in. So what are the challenges? Why do we not take the responsibility? Why do we not take the initiative? So first is because number of times we avoid the responsibility. For example, at our university, we have our performance appraisal is based on, again, how many initiatives you have taken. So one of the initiative is how many extra things you have done for your students other than teaching. So what I do is I will generally talk to people. I will tell them to come and interact with my students so that students have the exposure of the university experience. But in that case, I have to take that responsibility of talking to the people, managing the place where their lecture will be taken. If it is online, I have to get the Zoom link done. I have to do so many other things. And after that, वहाँ काम खत्म नहीं होता है, मुझे उसकी रिपोर्ट बना के देनी है. So the smallest of the tasks that I will do will have a lot of responsibility. So number of times we as people are not very open about taking the responsibilities. Second is complaining about everything. So ये नहीं है इसलिए नहीं किया, वो नहीं है इसलिए नहीं किया. Finding faults with the system, finding faults with the things. Again, having a problem-focused approach and not a solution-focused approach. Excuses. नहीं करने के 100 बहाने, करने के लिए सिर्फ एक ही reason चाहिए. So that is what is the challenge. Wasteful use of time. So we have 24 hours, and I don't have to say, irrespective of the ages, including me, including you, including everyone, the amount of time we spent on social media, on useless things. So I've just put one as social media. Similarly, there can be a lot of other things. Whiling away the time, binge watching television, binge watching series, so binge eating. There are so many things that we do not utilize time because the motivation to do things is somewhere that is missing. So we have to identify that initiative मुझे ही लेना है. अगर मुझे कुछ ज्यादा चाहिए तो मुझे ज्यादा चाहने के लिए मैं ज्यादा क्या कर रही हूँ is the question that I have to pose to myself. And the last and the most important thing, seeking instant gratification. Years of hard work, years of hard work is the thing that pays what we want. So if I find myself successful today, there has been 27 years of hard work that I have put on. So if you find someone who has reached a pinnacle of success, years of hard work. So, but most of the times हम 2 एफर्ट डालते हैं, 3 एफर्ट डालते हैं, फिर हमको लगता है हुआ ही नहीं, हुआ ही नहीं. मैं 3 साल से यहाँ काम कर रही हूँ, मेरा प्रमोशन नहीं हो रहा है, मुझे इंक्रीमेंट नहीं मिल रहा है. बट there is no shortcut to success. You have to have years of hard work, years of failures that put us through. Yes, Disha, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to check whether this philosophy or whether this thought of idea is relevant nowadays also, because I've seen so many young people, so many people who have not put in that much of hard work and they have success.
So when you define success is what is very important. You cannot, what you are seeing is a ultimate success, but the amount of hard work. So I'm not talking in terms of only years. It is also about how much effort have I put on. So for example, if I take the example of the person who made this phone pay app, I'm forgetting the name, very much in the news nowadays. So in middle 30s. So
You are referring to Grover?
yes, Mr. Grover.
Bharat
Yeah. So we may see that it's a success, but how much effort has he put on? What all difficulties he faced is something that is not seen. हम अल्टीमेट देख रहे हैं, ठीक है, 24 की एज पे इतना पैसा कमा रहा है, यहाँ पे पहुंच गया है. बट अगेन सक्सेस इज ऑल्सो डिटरमाइंड बाय हाउ आई फील अबाउट इट. So what I am saying is, if this particular thing is not giving me success, that means I am not putting it enough efforts, be it in terms of cognitive abilities, be it in terms of physical abilities. So the theory remains true. If I bring luck as a factor, if I'm lucky enough, or if my efforts have been enough, I will achieve success. But if I have, here the question is that if I have put in efforts, I've not been able to achieve, that means my efforts have to continue. So not necessarily instant gratification. I have to delay the gratification. मैंने मेहनत की और तुरंत मुझे मिल जाए is not what we look for. I hope I've answered your question, Disha. So there are 3 ingredients of when you talk of initiative and self-direction: manage goals in time, work independently, and be a self-directed learner. So when we talk about manage goals in time, I'm not saying we have to set very difficult goals. Of course, the goals are based on my abilities. So goals are certain things that, if, let us take an example, if I have a need to be a successful individual in terms of mental health, I have to set those goals. And just setting goals, writing on a piece of paper is not going to achieve it. I have to take the initiative to achieve those goals. So goals होंगे तो हम initiative भी लेंगे, लेकिन initiative अपने आप तो नहीं है. But goals होंगे तो हमें initiative लेने का motivation. Coming to time, achievement of.
I just wanted to tell one thing.
Ji, sir.
In between the phone. There is a book called Outliers. And of course, you would have read it, madam.
Right.
But it talks about the great people, and it says that they have worked very, very hard. And the first example, if I say right now, is of a Bill Gates. There used to be in his, let's say, colony or a society, there was one, when it was a good society of many people, they had one room where the computer, the first computers were put. This gentleman would say people would finish their work 10, 11, whatever, then he will take his turn and he may sit until morning. Now, that's the work that he has done. And there are several such examples. that principle of 10,000 hours and everything. So, and as Madam said, we see the success only, we do not see, Jitendra Bhai also wrote, we only see the success. And if there is somebody who has really got it in a lesser effort, it's a matter of chance. He cannot keep on succeeding with little work.
Every time.
Yeah, every time, exactly. Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, thank you. So when we talk about goals, another important thing that comes is deadline. Have I set a deadline? Because most of the times, I'll give you my example again, back to what I am. I always have this thing that I will read Mahabharat as a epic, and I will do it. मुझे करना है मेरे लाइफ टाइम में उतना पता है, ऐसा करते करते इतनी उम्र हो गई है, बट कभी भी उसको मैंने एज अ गोल नहीं लिया है. So recently I thought कि अभी मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है. I came across a nice group of intellectuals who are taking the initiative of reading these epics. कभी रामायण पढ़ते हैं, कभी महाभारत पढ़ते हैं, कभी अर्थशास्त्र पढ़ते हैं. So the epic goes on for 1 year. So 1 hour per week they spend together. They'll read together, contemplate on it, discuss on it, and move on. So recently, because I had that intention in my mind कब से, but कभी भी मैंने उसको deadline नहीं दिया. So I could never do it. And अभी भी मैंने deadline नहीं दिया. Somehow the world conspired, and I got this group, and now every Saturday I am the part of that group. I'm reading that book along with them. But I'm just sharing that deadlines बनाना जरूरी है अगर मुझे कुछ चाहिए. अगर deadline नहीं बनाया है, so मैं शायद उसको achieve भी नहीं कर पाऊंगी. टाइम मैनेजमेंट के बारे में बहुत कहा गया है, सभी जगह पे आप लोग जानते ही हैं कि we have limited time on this earth, and this I have realized. I'm sure Mr. Patel would also realize that जब करने का समय होता है तब हम अगर नहीं करते हैं तो समय चला जाता है, and बाद में other than cribbing or other than feeling upset about it, you can never have that. So I had that yearning to go to Mansarovar. मुझे अंदर से इच्छा है जाने की, but again with my all my life responsibilities, I could never go. And now I have, even if I want to do it, I do not have the courage to walk so much. So when we talk about time, we have to manage our times. We have to set the goals accordingly. So setting priorities is what is important. And again, so when we talk of time management, two things come into the thing. Number one, setting the priority is what is important, and giving the deadlines of when to do what to do. So managing the time, as a lot of our time goes into unproductive activities like binge watching, binge TV, internet, so many things. So I was reading this nice things that Netflix is not free, or Netflix is not sasta. Netflix takes away a lot of your time and energy and sleep. So अगर आप उसको practically देखो तो लगता है पूरे साल का 2,000 रुपए तो है, for example. But the amount of time it takes away because it is accessible to us. So during lockdown, during the second lockdown in April, I utilized some time on that, and then I realized कि कितना सारा देखते जाओ खत्म नहीं होता है, and वो कुछ productive चीज रह जाती है. So that realization लाने के लिए थोड़ा time लग गया, उसमें 10 दिन चले गए मेरे. So which I realized much later. So setting goals with intangible and with tangible success criteria, balancing the short-term and the long-term goals, and utilizing the time and managing the workload efficiently. So second important thing for when we talk of intention and self-direction is work independently. So there would be people to help you only if you have the intention. So try to work on the independent projects. I'm not saying don't work in a team. The team should be a supportive element for me, but I have to decide my independent things. Third, most important thing is learning. Lifelong learning is something that should go on. So I have to keep on learning as my life moves on. There is no end to learning. So it can be learning related to life experiences. It can be learning related to professional experiences. It can be learning related to professional skills. मुझे जो करना है उसके लिए learning तो मुझे करना पड़ेगा. And with that comes reflection. What I need to learn, whatever skills that are available with me. So when I say you have to stretch your limits, you have to stretch yourself, you have to reflect कि कहाँ stretch करना है, किस area में stretch करना है. So be self-directed learners, demonstrate the initiative and go beyond the skills of mastery. Demonstrate commitment to learning as a lifelong process. As I always look up to Mr. Patel, that उनको देख करके मुझे लगता है कि life learning is an endless process. We can go on learning and reflect critically on past experiences in order to inform the further progress. So जो गलती हुआ उसको कैसे इम्प्रोवाइज करें, जो अच्छा हो गया उसको और कैसे नेक्स्ट लेवल पे ले जाएं, is all about reflection. So that is about the intent and the self-direction. That is what I had to say. And these are the two things that I will close my talk with. Intentions cannot be taught, it comes from within. And design your thoughts in such a manner that whatever will be the outcome. So whatever you want, you have to design our actions. Thank you so much. So I finished a little early, and if someone has to share your experiences in terms of you took the initiative and you were able to achieve, that would be really great.
I will share, madam, an example of a person or an employee. Very interesting example. And Disha, you may know him maybe in a distant way. I used to look after a very small plant, madam. And while I was, let's say, looking after company's Olympics commercial function, I'm naming and the person, the company, everything. It's worth, and we had got him also at ULI also to interact. In a small plant, so I used to go there, meet people and all. And so we had hired one a BSc graduate. I think he had barely got second class probably. And BSc admission was also after some diploma. He came from village, right? We were watching he was a shop floor chemist. We were watching him. I mean, watching every small company, and we were watching. And this fellow was very, very sincere and everything. Now look at, so we would give him a better increment. Maybe twice we did that. And then he came to us. Now this is where the initiative comes. He comes and tells me that, sir, I'm thankful to you. I'm very happy, but I really want to still grow. Now, see the initiative. And he says that I want to become officer soon. Tell me, what do I have to do so that you'll make me officer? Now, he is asking this question. If I satisfy that criteria, make me officer. Today, this gentleman I think he must have become vice president, or at least he is heading purchase here in Baroda. Raw materials purchase. His name is Amrish Shah. Now, constantly he kept on doing this. Constantly, he becomes executives. He will say, "Thank you very much, sir. Now tell me, what do I do?" So that initiative of asking a question, what is that is expected out of me, which will help me grow. And from that I can learn and grow. And then you'll say, you'll be happy to promote me rather than you promote me. So that's the kind of one example, wonderful example, I mean, I would say. Amrish Shah at Alembic.
Sir, thank you so much for recalling this and this gentleman. He came to ULI also to share his
Correct,
experience.
correct. He had
I know.
come. I had invited
This
him,
is
and
a very, very live example. Academically, he was not so much qualified, but he reached to so heights we can't
yes,
imagine.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Beyond his imagination.
and Ajit Bhai, not only he reached, but today he is one of the valued person in the company. One is that you get position, responsibility, salary. The second is the key people in the organizations. The
Yes.
CEOs would know you and they will value. Sometimes people, madam, would come and say that I want to change a job, I'm getting such a better offer. I would say, do you know that in this company, the CEO, the owner, how they much they respect? Are you valuing this thing? That will ensure that you grow. But Amrish is entire this thing is because of his initiative to know how I grow, prepare myself, and then company promotes me.
So
Sure,
like this,
everyone in
so
the group will have some story to share about
yes,
themselves.
definitely. I have also have something to say, but
Please,
it
sir.
other way around. I didn't take initiative, but it was opportunity. When I was working, I joined an organization where it was not a ample opportunity for my discipline. So I was put in the civil work for supervision of civil work. I took interest, and finally I found it that when I have to build my own house, it was very much useful. Nobody can befool you, definitely. So if you don't take an initiative, but if you find opportunity, one should take. And like this, you can say the example of our prime minister. He never thought of that he will be leading a nation and like this. And even though he was not having so much academic qualification that he could have thought of, but he reached to the heights. Smita Irani and all so many examples are there.
Yes, yes.
And earlier there was a saying कि पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब, but nowadays it is found that lot of uh, opportunity is there
Yeah, and
for
other
every skill.
skills that you have developed.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
skills that you have
Extra
developed.
curricular activity as well is important actually. Google वगैरह में तो बोलते हैं कि आपको म्यूजिक आता है, डांस आता है, so they are looking for the
Yeah.
creativity.
No skill goes waste in Google.
Yeah. And best example is the Kapil Sharma.
Yeah.
He started his own channel. Thank you.
Ila madam, you can share something, I'm sure.
हमारा मैडम
Yes, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Ha, madam.
Hello. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I will tell my own story in the entry to the Faculty of Social Work as a student. I did my graduation in microbiology, sir. And
Madam, I'll
there
just
were,
mute somebody. I'll just mute somebody. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, madam.
yeah. So I graduated from science with microbiology major, and I had two options. Either I can go for masters in microbiology, or I pursue my law, other bachelor, as my father was a judge and my mom is also BSc LLB. But then one of my friends, she was applying for MSW, and I thought, let me also try, because I knew one very popular alumnus from the faculty, and she was performing great. So considering her as a role model, I started preparing. My friend, she was knowing the dean at that time, I am Patel. So I am Patel was very known to my friends, Bua, and then she thought that with that influence, she would get into the faculty. She didn't prepare much, but I, being dire disciplined rather, I wanted to prove my word to myself, not to anybody else. Father was a judge at district and session judge at Nadiyad. So in the nearby, we had Rimanam for boys. So I started going there. One probational officer was there, and there they were having number of magazines from Tata Institute of Social Science. And I took advantage of it. I worked so hard that my name was there in the first list. And both of us, I and my friend Parul, we decided that the one who gets the confirmation would be telling the other one. But I didn't receive the call from her, and I got the admission. So I waited for a week, and then I conveyed to her. and that is a story. Like I had to work hard. What ma'am said, that the success is not. It is lots of hard work, which is hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's a new journey, and God's blessing. Thank you, Priyanka. Ben, it's wonderful
thank
listening
you,
to
Ila ma'am. कितना अच्छा लग रहा है आपसे interact करके.
Both the example, if you look at Priyanka madam as Ila madam, they have taken initiatives. And probably at that point of time, unless they had taken initiative, they would have gone into the routine. Priyanka madam would have barely graduated, I would say. Same way, Ila madam. So in those circumstances, they have taken initiatives, and that is where they are. Where, I mean, that is because of that they are where they are today. Today, probably the things are a bit different, but you still need to take initiatives. You need to take initiative. You get more information. You know who are the big people, what is their wealth. All those data are available. But how they have done it, that data is not available. That data is not available. And I do not know. I mean, like, I can keep on sharing my own example. Also, I mean, I can also talk about. I come from a village, madam. I'm one of the 6 children with my father. He was a school teacher. But yes, education was important for him. But I mean, for whatever reason, let's say I did not opt for engineering, or when I saw that in my BSc class, that the average, let's say, performance of my colleagues is much lower, I made up my mind that I'll have to do something about after my graduation. That time I did not have courage to ek saal chhod do aur phir engineering mein jao. But yes, moment I did my BSc, I said I must do something technical. That's where I found a course in Kanpur. Went there. I was working in a factory. I said, this is not the thing which I should be doing all my life. Working in a factory on the shop floor, though I may grow. But I said, I must do MBA. So working in a factory, in CAT के preparation करना, Times of India पढ़ना, Gujarati medium, right? So all those things. So you got to take initiative from that angle. I am nahi mila admission. I said, fine, I will try. I tried twice, and I said, let me give it up and go to BK school. Let me try BK school. Fortunately, I could get the admission. So today, also, let's say with my father being maybe graduate, his ability to guide me would be limited. And today, you may be what you are. Let's say, madam, or as a your parents would have a lot of money and they would have success, but in terms of their ability to guide you, there will be some limitation, and therefore probably you must understand yourself, take some initiative, decide about your goal. As madam said, goal is very, very important. Based on that, certain initiatives can be taken. So we can keep on sharing the, let's say, number of examples of, and that's the way the people have made their career. They have taken initiative. They failed many times, and they have walked further in their career.
Any participant would like to share? Any other participant?
Jitendra Bhai has risen.
Yes, ma'am.
बोलिए बोलिए sir.
जितेंद्र भाई, તમારો
गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट था. जब मुझे प्रमोशन नहीं मिला 5 साल के बाद, तो आई एम अपसेट माई सेल्फ एंड डिसाइडेड टू what to do next. So I joined part-time degree. Very difficult to get the admission. So many hurdles from management, my colleague, but I am persistently decided to do something. And after my mother is in hospital. I have one kid, family. Still, my support is good. So I balance everything and got the degree. Same year, I pass out the officer exam and got the promotion 10 year outside. I learn my thing in a lesson. People are helping. If you ask help, help is available. One of the colleague give me the some time management themes, goal setting,
and I realized that this is the actually tool to enhance my next. So I prepare everything in any worst condition, come out from all difficulty, and as I am proud of that myself, is there some fulfilling in my life, my family, and I serve the society. Thank you.